This episode of Pucks Out Podcast is brought to you by our friends over at Action 24/7, Tennessee's only local legal sportsbook. Use code Pucks Out when you make your first deposit, and our friends over at Action 24/7 will give you a 50% boost on your first deposit up to $800. That's right, up to $400 extra when you use code Pucks Out. And like always, there are some amazing promos happening this week. Check us and Action 24/7 out on Twitter and Instagram to be kept up to date on all the best promos. And did you know you can gamble with cash? Are you tired of waiting on your sportsbook? You won but can't get your money? No more waiting with Action 24/7. If you want to gamble with cash deposits and withdrawals, get started with Tennessee's local sportsbook today. Check out the link in the show description. Once again, use code PUCKSOUT, that's PUCKSOUT, when you make your first deposit, and our friends at Action 24/7 will give you a 50% boost on your first deposit up to $800. What are you waiting for?
From the Standing Stone Farm Studio right outside downtown Nashville, it's time for the most ridiculous sports podcast in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen as Bobby Butler and Brandon Bond crack open a cold one and talk all things hockey, pop culture, and complain about everyday situations. It's the Pucks Out Podcast on the Penalty Box Radio Network.
Welcome into the most ridiculous podcast in sports and pop culture. I'm Bobby. He's Brandon.
Hey-o.
You can find us on the three majors of social media at Pucks Out Pod. Now let's crack open this cold Mayday beer and let's get after it. I almost did the intro there for the fantasy ins.
So you're so excited. You're so excited to have this beer that you don't even remember what it's in honor of. You know what I'm saying? You just want to drink it.
Yeah.
You've been texting me, normally we all, hey, we're excited to have a few beers. No, never ever do we either of us text each other that say, hey, I'm super excited to get to the show so we could drink these beers. It's mostly you texting me like, man, I can't wait to see you. You're such a good friend. I really love hearing your opinions. And
every time,
and it's me telling you, shut up, Bobby. No, but what you have in there, brother? What do you got?
I got the Yodel Yehi Blue.
Yodel Blue. Yeah. Angry Redhead over here. So
nice.
Hey, can't ever hate on the Angry Redhead. I'm super jealous of the Yodel Blue.
Yeah.
What you got?
Don't forget, Pucks Out is powered by Mayday Brewery, the official beer of Pucks Out Podcast. Check them out every Tuesday for trivia night and Thursday for bingo. And August 20th is hot chicken and jorts. So get on out there, have a great time. Unfortunately, we've got my wife's birthday party, so we won't be able to make it.
Every year we did. So I think I had some sort of party last year that it ran into, and then this year you're like, hot chicken and jorts, man, 8/20, and I was like, that date sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go look at the calendar real quick. And I was like, you can go, Bob. I said, I'm going to go to your wife. I'm going to go to your wife's birthday.
Now we can do it. Now I'm making jorts and I'm bringing hot chicken. So we're
wearing jorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a mechanical bull at the party. So we're going to be having a great time.
All right. So the beginning of the party, we're going to have a great time. My jorts are so short that after the mechanical bull, I'll be so chafed up that I will not be having a good time anymore. Okay, so there's gonna be hot chicken there.
If we want to bring some,
I mean,
it's up to us.
So we're getting hot chicken. Where are we getting hot chicken from?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm passing all the good spots. I might get shot.
I think we got to do Prince's. Yeah.
I might get shot going.
There's also, there's a place in, I believe, Franklin that my mother-in-law says is absolutely amazing. It is like this little hole in the wall, just a little place called Big Shakes. And it's owned by this elderly black couple who just have been doing it for like 25 years. And they just make some amazing hot chicken. It's super hot. They have like all these different flavors. And they said like the hot one is hot.
Yeah.
But I want to try that because, obviously we've had the big ones. We've had Helens, we've had Prince's, we've had church, like.
Well, you know what I always say about hot chicken that, you don't really know and it's maybe too hot. You always want to pick that day, an important day that you got other stuff to do to experiment with hot chicken. That's what I always, it's a long motto.
Yeah.
It doesn't always fit and it takes a little while to, get out.
Especially if you're going to be somewhere with a mechanical bull, that's just going to get everything kind of mixed up in there.
That's what I'm saying. It's shaking it up so you know if you really like it or not. And I would imagine that there's probably not, they're probably not ordering out a bunch of porta potties. So, super exciting for, your wife's parents to entertain us with their thought process, right? Like they're like, hey, you should try this place. We will. Okay. We want the hottest you've got, ma'am. Can you actually make it hotter than that? Throw a ghost pepper in there. We are going to a very important party, as you can see, because we'll have the jorts on when we're going in. So they know we mean business.
Today, we are talking all the news in and out of the NHL. We've got talking UFAs and much more. Check us out on Patreon to get all the spicy bits early. And we are on Twitch. Check us out. We just passed 100 followers. So head on over to Twitch. Drop us a follow. Every time we hit a goal, whoever's streaming, we chug a beer. We hit that 100. The next goal, we are at 108 now out of 125. And we're one sub away from chugging. So we like to have fun over there. So head on over.
Yeah.
How are you this week, dude?
Dude, I'm pretty good, man. I was just gonna say it's super, nice of you to say we are doing that. I think I do most of the work for it. So I mean, just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
But no, I'm doing good, man. Been like you'll learn, like I've been super in the Big Brother world, just having to work.
Your boy's killing it right now.
Yeah, but I mean, my team's
the cookout.
not,
it can change real quick.
Oh, it can change. I'm not expecting any. Fantasy is out of my mind at this point. I am just now invested in a fun game because things are not looking good for me across my fantasy leagues. So getting that, getting that new house.
Someone put you in a bad spot.
Someone put me in a bad spot. hey, who did this? Who did this? Who is this man? It was me. I was the guy. that was the one. That was the only one to blame. So, getting the new house ready. Stephanie's putting in some good work in it. But I went over there Saturday. We got a bunch of stuff done. So ready to get in the new studs, get it all, decorated, decored up for the peoples and whatnot. So, what about you, brother? How you been doing?
I'm gonna talk a little bit about what's not in my stick, man. But it's been a long week. First world problems to an extent. We got a leak in the roof from the storm. We got gutters falling off. Dog's got a bellyache, so she's been using the bathroom inside when she shouldn't be. Both cars are broken down, so it is what it is. But we're getting through it. Let's do this fit check, though. I see we're both rocking them Hawaiians, dude.
Yeah. Well, see, you went with the traditional Hawaiian, which is always good. Don't get me wrong. But your boy went with the, your boy went with the full fit, dude, the uniform. All right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What team are you on? Oh, just being generally balling all the time. And then I went with just, the gray winter classic hat up top, just the,
nice.
Just kicking it with what you could say was a classic. A classic hat. So
I got that National Bohemian hat on today.
Wow, some Natty Bow, baby. What's good? Yeah, boy.
But,
we got to be careful. Obviously we check before, but we both got that hat. So I think I've already worn it during a fit check. So I don't think I've been trying to avoid rocking multiple. I mean, when you got hundreds of hats, if you wear the same one when you're recording once a week, are you really a hat aficionado? And I don't think that the answer is you are not. So,
let's head over into the news. We don't have much, but we got one.
Everything you need to know about what's happening on the ice. It's time for news from inside the boards.
All right, so not much news in the NHL, but the Kraken have added Andrei Burakovsky coming out the, I think, what did they say? Is he a two-time Stanley Cup winner now?
I want to say, did he win one with the Capitals? Does that sound...
I want to say so.
Yeah, let me get
he won it in 2018, he won it in the Capitals. So yeah, they had two-time Stanley Cup. Honestly, I like what the Kraken are doing this offseason. They've got Oliver Bjorkstrand, Justin Schultz, Martin Jones is Martin Jones, but who knows? I mean, I like what's happening there. And when you compare it to what's happening in Vegas right now, everyone thought, oh, Vegas did have the greatest expansion season in the NHL, but now they're getting bit in the ass. I mean, they set themselves up for winning in the first 3 years.
Yeah.
They didn't win a Stanley Cup in the first 3 years, and now that cap space is biting them in the ass.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, again, we've talked about this as, obviously you always want from the start of your team coming to town to be good. Don't get me wrong, but you grow that, you get that way early. You're really good for 3 years, and then you just miss the playoffs, in the fourth year, and your fandom is up in arms and upset and mad. Like that's going to be a long-term problem for you.
Especially in a place like Vegas where you have a lot of tourists coming in. It's really easy for your fans to find something else to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I'm not saying that everybody like that it lives in Vegas, but Vegas is a niche town. It's not even for people that live there. It's a new
sports city.
It is a new sports city, and it's a town where the people in town may not care about sports ever. They don't, they like going to the casinos, or they like doing, this, or they like boxing or whatever. And so I think it's very important for a fan base to learn how to lose and appreciate it when you actually win. It's hard to appreciate the win when it just comes there immediately. Now, hey, was it fun? Was it exciting? Sure. But ask Nashville how fun that Stanley Cup run was for us. It was phenomenal because we haven't had that before.
Yeah.
So I agree. I really like what the Kraken are doing. I mean, just this signing specifically. You talked about a few that they've already done, but Burakovsky it was a big part. I would say played a big role. Not a big part, but played a big role in both of those Stanley Cups. I mean, a guy that's a depth piece that could score, that didn't take any nonsense. I mean, I think that's a really good ad for the Kraken. I like that signing.
Yeah. And just to piggyback off what we were saying for Vegas fans, you have to imagine that it was only a couple of years ago that all these fans are used to sitting watching football and hockey games and lazy boys getting free drinks. Now they're sitting in hard seats having to pay $16-17 a beer. I mean, they could really easily, if these teams start being bad, they have no complaints going to the casino and watching games at the sports book.
Right, exactly. We don't really have that luxury of, if we want to go and watch the game, I mean, we can go to a bar or something, but we can't go hang out in the sports book. You know what I'm saying? And watch the game. We do hang out in the sports book. It's called our couch and our apps. All right.
Shout out Action 24/7.
Shout out. Yeah. I mean, hey, what's good? What's good, everybody? I mean, when I'm betting, I'm betting with Action. Okay. So, but no offense, Action. If I lived in Vegas, I'd probably, you guys wouldn't sponsor me because I'd be hanging out in the sports book all the time. I would have never.
We also wouldn't live in Tennessee where they're located.
I would have never linked up with Well, I'm more saying the podcast never would have happened, Bobby, because college was not in the cards for the Vegas living Brandon. Okay. Like I'm a homeless man or I'm living dope in the sports book. Those were my only two options. There was zero, no in between. No, he goes and gets a job and he grows up. No. Okay. That was it. I was either going to be a crippling, addicted gambler that was homeless, or a crippling addicted gambler that lived in a sports book. Okay. So that were the only two options.
All right. Let's move into outside the NHL.
Now that you know what's happening inside the boards, time for the rest of the headlines with news from outside the boards.
Rest in peace to one of the greats, Bill Russell, 8-time world champion. I believe all with the Celtics, correct?
Yes,
all 8 with the Celtics.
Yes, I believe he was always with the Celtics. I mean, he did a lot for not only obviously basketball. I mean, obviously he did a lot for basketball, but he was a big he was big in the community, I believe, as well.
Oh yeah.
So obviously we're not a big basketball podcast, but when one of the greats in all of sports, when they pass, you gotta bring it up. So Did you know? I mean, I thought he was taller than. I thought he was 7. He was only 6'10". But I mean, I guess at the time that was basically like being 7'4". So, so one of the great. I mean,
the phrase "only 6'10" is an amazing phrase.
It's the NBA. I'm so sorry. Did we say 8? I think we said 8-time NBA champion, and that is wrong. We are both. Well, I said 8 to you earlier, so I'm going to take the heat on that. He was an 11-time NBA champion.
When you said
8 earlier,
did we say 8? In my mind, for some weird sports trivia in the back of my mind, and as a Celtics fan, it was like, is it 11?
It was 8 in a row. Yes.
Okay.
He won 57, and then they won. No, and I knew 8 was a part of it, but so
8 was a number, yeah.
57, and then he won 8 in a row, 59 to 66, and then won 68 and 69. 5 MVPs, 12 NBA All-Star games,
insane.
NBA All-Star Game MVP, 3-time NBA All-First Team, 8-time NBA All-NBA Second Team, NBA Defensive First Team, 4-time NBA Rebounding Champion, the NBA Lifetime Achievement Award in 2017. He was on the NBA anniversary teams for the 25th, 35th, 50th, and 75th anniversaries. Number 6, his numbers retired by Boston. Number 6, 2-time NCAA champion, NCAA tournament's most outstanding player, UPI College Player of the Year, 2-time Helms Player of the Year, 2-time consensus first team All-American, WCC Player of the Year, 3-time first time All WCC. Number 6, retired by San Francisco Dons, and Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2011. As a coach, also, I forgot to tell you, he won one as a player coach in 1968, and then again in 1969. So technically, he has 2 wins as a coach as well.
So here's my question for you then, and I'm not arguing for or against it. How come everyone who always talks the conversation between Michael versus LeBron, it usually comes down to championships and stuff like that, and how many you've won, how many you've lost, and the number of championships. How come that conversation never includes Bill Russell? 8 in a row. 8 in a row is by itself.
Absolutely.
And he did something that Michael Jordan couldn't do.
Absolutely.
He actually won as a player coach.
Those teams were vastly superior to any team. I mean, it was a different era.
But when you say that
basketball,
teams now are, I feel like the current teams are always going to be superior. Like
no, I'm saying
15 years ago.
The Celtics themselves were so much superior.
Okay.
Everybody played with.
Yes.
Bill Russell was. I mean, let me look up that. Let's just say, right in the heat of it. Let's say we'll go 1963.
How many Finals MVPs did he win?
3.
Okay, 3 still. I mean, that's still half of Jordan's.
Yeah, that's still half of Jordan's, but they won 11. So
yeah.
Jordan won 6, and he did so in a break. Let's see, 1963, Boston Celtics.
While you look that up, let's Deshaun Watson suspended 6 games for violating the league's personal conduct policy, by engaging in sexual assault, by engaging in conduct that poses a genuine danger to the safety and well-being of another person, and by engaging in conduct that undermines or puts at risk the integrity of the NFL. Absolutely insane. This is only 6 games when you've got guys being suspended full seasons for weed.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, listen, the weed thing. Put aside
any like, oh well, he wasn't convicted in court. Neither were the guys who had weed or that tested positive for smoking weed. That's not. I mean, that's out the window. That's argument's gone. So it's absolutely insane that this is a blemish on the NFL once again, along with many other blemishes between the Ray Rice situation.
I agree that it's a blemish, but see, the thing is between Ray Rice and where we're sitting at right now is a collective bargaining agreement signed by the players, and like we're not there. I mean, I guess there's probably some loose, verbiage for the punishments, But I mean, hey, and I'm not saying deserve is not in my vocabulary of what I'm saying of why the 6 happened. So deserve has nothing to do with it. I believe that it should obviously be much more than 6, but it is what we've seen with this unproven he said she said stuff that, again, if they're making this decision before anything officially has been finished, my understanding would be if stuff external to what the NFL already knows comes out, then they can add to that expansion.
I believe what I read today was that they have 7
Suspension.
days to the NFL has 7 days to appeal and possibly add more time onto it. And you say the CBA that was signed by the players. I want to be very clear. I'm not arguing. When I say the blemish is on the NFL, I'm not.
You're talking about the league as a whole.
Yeah, I'm talking about the league. I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, I'm not on the side of millionaires and going against billionaires." No. Like, that's not what this is. The NFL is the players, the owners.
No.
Yeah.
This is not contract disputes, okay? This isn't quite, which I found all this being very different of what a person has actually done, as opposed to us sitting here talking about, look, if we're talking about a contract dispute, I'm always going to land on the side of the millionaire, because the millionaire, the difference between $1 million and $1 billion is about $1 billion. Okay, so like we're not arguing.
And those billionaires don't entertain me on Sundays. The millionaires do.
That's what I'm saying. I have never had a fantasy NFL owner league. Okay, never once.
I mean, next we will now.
All right. I mean, obviously we are now going to, now that we first had the idea, but previously, and then honestly, at that point, we may be like, forget the football players. We're going to shill for these billionaires. What's up? Like, your boy. And honestly, it shouldn't be who does the best as an owner. It should be who does objectively the worst for their team. So dibs on Dan Snyder. Okay. So I got him. He's mine. You can't have him, Bob. I know that's your team, but he is my NFL owner. So,
I mean, if we're talking about, especially if you look at the he does the least amount, he probably makes the most money, and I'm taking Shad Khan in the first pick.
Ooh, okay. All right, so then I think I got to go back to Jerry Jones, right? I mean, there's nobody that spends so much. He spends so much money and gets nothing in return for it. It's got to be high on our point scale. We're gonna have to figure that out for the people.
Yeah. Oh, I lost my place because I just started.
We were just done with Watson, I think. And I didn't really find a bunch of big teammates for Bill Russell. I'm sure that there were. I would have to look into it a little bit, but
we'll just look to see who the other 8 and the NBA the championship whatever, the playoff MVPs or whatever.
Also, I'd say probably stats have something to do with it. He had 14,000 points, 21,000 rebounds, 4,000 assists. I mean, a lot of rebounds per game. And
at only 6'10", that's great.
And he was a little guy. That's the most impressive. I mean, he was the Muggsy Bogues of his era. So.
The Dolphins punished for tampering following a 6-month investigation. The league found the Dolphins, primarily team owner Stephen Ross and vice chairman, limited partner Bruce Beal, violated the anti-tampering policy on 3 occasions from 2019 to 2022 in conversations with quarterback Tom Brady and the agent for then New Orleans Saints coach Sean Payton. No evidence, though, has been found of them throwing games. I think one of the best parts about this is one of the pieces of evidence that they found that concluded this was a text from Bruce Belichick to, I believe, Stephen Ross, and it was the fact that Bill Belichick sent it to the wrong, or he was to Brian Flores. It was to Brian Flores. Sent it to the wrong
Brian Flores. I mean, the wrong one. Yeah.
Yes. And you're talking about Belichick playing chess and not checkers. Him laying the groundwork of accidentally sending a text that could be considered tampering on the Dolphins, but not the Patriots, is amazing. I mean, good Lord, this man is a evil genius.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not I get why, if you're not a Patriots fan, you hate this guy.
Well, and I mean, Brian Flores, has come out and said some different things that makes you lean to, they just, you said the key line. at the very end of it. No evidence found of them throwing games.
Yeah.
They didn't say they didn't throw games. We found evidence of them that, showed that they didn't throw games. Because remember what Flores came out and said about different things that they were letting him do and not letting him do, trying to get him to lose the game. And I mean, maybe
that's hard to find
it's
evidence on.
It's hard, right? Maybe it's a scorned ex-girlfriend type of deal, but also Brian Flores never really struck me as that type of guy that needed to throw out falsities on what's clearly a bad Dolphins ownership. So I mean, obviously they've shown to do wrong. I wonder how that goes for this season. That's a team that has a lot of potential this year with bringing in Tyreek Hill and Tua back for a year, and then some different signings there. So looking forward to kind of see how this affects things if they're able to stay on the right track.
I do find it ridiculous. Like, they are finding Stephen Ross I think a couple $1 million, which would be like getting a parking ticket worth 20 and being told, give us 25 cents. Give us whatever changes in your cup holder right now.
Oh no. Anyway, I mean, he's just going to raise PSL prices. He's like, no problem. It's like, I got you, buddy.
All right. Our main topic of the day. We're talking the best UFAs coming into the month of August. We've got a couple here, a couple big names. Obviously, there's a lot more than this, but these are the ones that I think that we think are going to get the most attention. Starting off, I think we can agree this is the biggest name on this list, Nazem Kadri, the 31-year-old center. Last year in Colorado, he had a cap hit of $4.5 million, 28 goals and 87 points in the regular season, and 15 points in 16 playoff games en route to a Stanley Cup run. I mean, 16 playoff games is not a lot of playoff games to win the cup. I mean, that's a great number of points. I think right now, all signs are pointing to him going to the Islanders, which I think he's a great fit. There's also some talk about Seattle. That would be a huge pickup for Seattle. I think it's a huge boon for whoever gets this guy.
Yeah, I think not. I don't want to say wasted. I think that he'll be wasted on a Seattle team. I mean, it'll be a great addition for the Seattle team. I think that a team like the Islanders that started off so poorly, having to be away from a home stadium for so long, and then kind of making a push towards the end. But I mean, it was far too little, too late for them to do it. I think that's a much better fit for a guy like that. He can handle the New York grit and the media and what they have to offer. But I mean, and I'm sure it's a cap situation. Specifically, if I'm one of these teams that is looking to make another cup run, i.e., Carolina, Florida. Even a place like Pittsburgh that has had some had success and not so much recently, but always could with the guys they have on their team. I think I'm making probably trying to make a bigger push for a guy like him. He made such a difference on that Colorado team that I think it was such a difference that he could have willed a couple of different teams through their other teams, and so. Obviously New York and Seattle, those are probably the places that are going to pay him the most money. So, go get your money, Nazem Kadri. Yeah. But I'm more saying free up some money if you're one of these other squads. If all you're talking about is a 4.5 million cap hit last year, it can't be. What do you think he commands right now? Six and a half, maybe. And that's a big number.
6.75 is the highest I would be comfortable getting them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying sell everything and get sell all your pieces so you could bring in Nazem Kadri. But if you could make it work, that's a piece that provides so much that I think that I would be really wanting to at least try for it.
Yeah. Phil Kessel, the 34-year-old winger. Last year, his cap hit was $8 million, 52-point season, but the once consistent 30-goal scorer only managed to score 5 even strength goals. Um,
I
he's
want to
not. I don't think he's pulling in that $8 million wherever he goes.
No, I mean, and you said a consistent 30 goal scorer. Hey, and that is a feat, okay? And he absolutely is a. But I don't think 30. A guy that if you promise me for the next 5 years he's going to get me 30 goals, I don't think $8 million. That's just not the number that comes into my head. I mean, I don't know what I'm paying for Phil Kessel. $4.5 million is sounding more about right to me. 5 million.
I think
6
he's
million.
kind of an anomaly because he comes off of Arizona, and then before that he was playing with Sidney Crosby.
Right.
So it's kind of I don't know. I
mean, he's all right. So I think we need to be clear.
He's a great player.
Statement. I'd love to have him on my team.
Yeah,
for the right number.
$8 million is a no-go, is a non-starter.
I mean, that's almost twice as much. I mean, I think I would probably pay for the name and for the leadership and for what he can bring to a team, for a decent team, 4.5. That's about what I think I'd be willing to pay for my team. Am I saying that that's what this man is worth? No. I mean, you're worth whatever anybody is willing to pay you. And hey, $8 million buys a lot of goodwill and a lot of hot dogs. So don't hear what I'm not saying, okay? But I mean, $8 million, even if he was at the Coyotes and he scored 30 goals, I mean, what else is he doing? He's not. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say anything that makes it seem like I'm against Phil Kessel, but
I don't want to say that he needs a prove it contract, but he's
past he's
an
contract.
He's an anomaly to me.
But he needs more of an inline contract. Like, I don't think I'd have a huge of a problem with the team giving him $5.5 or $6 million. But if somebody brings him in, or let's say the Coyotes re-sign him for $7.5 million, I'm gonna judge that contract. I have to. I mean, I believe
that anybody, if you pay anyone over 6.5, to me, you're saying this is the person that's going to take us to the next level. That's the piece we need to get us to the next level.
I hate it when people are like, well, you couldn't do it. Well, absolutely not. But nobody's offering to pay me $8 million to not do it. Okay. And so I'm in 100% agreement with you on that. He's worth what you pay him, for sure. But if you're going to get paid that much money, then we as journalists and analysts and people that watch hockey and fans, we all get to judge what you're not doing for that money. I mean,
we judged Matt Duchene for years, and guess what? He stepped up. He performed
stepped up to the plate,
and we said this past season he finally got. Now we need to get a couple more years of that because he needs to make up for those couple of years where he underperformed his contract. But all right, Evan Rodriguez, the 28-year-old center from Pittsburgh, only a cap hit of $1 million last year, 43 points in 82 games. I think he's going to get more than that mil.
Thinking 2 to 4 milli is in his realm of possibility.
I like this guy. I think he is coming. He's in his prime right now. I think he's going to get somewhere else. I think playing on a line with Sidney Crosby for a season and a half, a full season.
Yeah, and the good thing
that's great for anybody.
Great thing about Pittsburgh is he got to play a lot with Crosby, but he got to play a lot with Malkin. He got to play a lot across the board and learn from those guys. I'm with you. That one, if you can get him in the realm of anywhere close to $1 million a season, I'm snatching him up.
What's the max you're paying for him? I don't think I'm going above 4.
Oh no! I was thinking 2.5. 2.5, maybe 2.7,
maybe 3 if I'm feeling frisky,
depending on my cap situation. If I've got enough open cap to
maybe if I'm Calgary, who's got some cap space.
Honestly, what a fantastic thought for Evan Rodriguez. Like, for him going to Calgary, and if you could pay him $2.75 million a year, I think you are more than going to get your money's worth. So, I mean, Calgary is a really, really good thought. But I think anywhere, even if a team, I think that's a good enough contract that you can bring him in and not be expecting a cup run
Yeah.
or something. That could be a really long-term build for you. And
I mean, and if you give him a 3-year contract, that gets him to 31, and he's either by then he's still at that point he's in his prime still age-wise, and he's proved himself, or he hasn't. If he's proved himself, then maybe he turns into that $4 or $5 million player.
Yeah, if
I'm 31, and then you give him a 6-year contract.
I'm a team rebuilding. Obviously the Kraken is always an option. They've already been making some moves, but the team like the Sharks, maybe the team like Detroit, maybe is a landing spot for him. But with all that being said, I think he may be willing to go and take $2.5 million to go play for a team like Colorado, or play for a team like Florida, or a team like Carolina that already has that cup chance. And I think he can kind of really control his destiny of what he wants to do with this contract, or at least in my mind.
Paul Stastny, the 36-year-old center, last season cap hit of $3.75 million. He hit 45 points this season, his first time since the 15-16 season. I think this is a guy that would be a great fit going back to the Avs. But again, going back to Calgary, I think Paul Stastny's a good fit for a place like Calgary. They've got the cap space. I think Paul Stastny is a great, has that veteran leadership ability. He's still a good player. I like him. I think I like him at $3 million.
I like, three. I even like him at his. I mean, a little high, maybe 3.75. But if you're willing to pay it, I'm not against it. 36. He's older, and he had 45 points, which is a nice number. But I mean, I think we both know, especially as fantasy players, what Stastny brings to the table is not necessarily his goal scoring ability. But that's that guy that you can put in there, and he's going to win a faceoff. He can play on a fourth line. He can play on a second line. The versatility, exactly. The versatility that a guy like Stastny is going to give you is key. And again, it kind of goes back to that. You can bring him on a team that's in a rebuild, and he can help your players grow, or you can bring him onto a squad that has a chance to to move forward and maybe win a cup. I'm thinking a place like, Toronto. Toronto just pops into my head as a spot that Stastny, I think, would learn and grow, kind of like Joe Thornton. Not learn and grow, help learn and grow with a lot of those younger players, kind of like Joe Thornton did, or I was thinking Jokinen, just like that older player that was like going from place to place later in his career.
And as much as it hurts to say, what do you think about Stastny in a place like Chicago? I mean, they've got 10. They got 10.5, almost $11 million in cap space.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what I'm talking about. It really is. His skill set is so wide open to a deep cup run, or a team that maybe is on the cusp of a playoffs, or a team that is just bad right now and has a lot of young players that he can move along. I mean, a guy like Stastny goes to a place like Chicago. But I mean, that's a team that could go either way. I mean, you get the right pieces, the right signings on there. I don't think it matters who else is on that team. You got Jonathan Toews, you got Patrick Kane. I think you can win some hockey games if some things go your way. So I think, I absolutely don't hate the thought of. I hate the thought of him going there, because I do like him as a player, but I don't hate the thought of him as an outside perspective for Chicago.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the cap spaces right now. I know you mentioned Toronto. That's a no-go. They are almost $2 million over the cap, so they would have to drop $5 million just to bring Stastny in if he got his market price.
Sure.
But and then I mean, just so Tampa Bay's almost $8 million over the cap, of course, because of LTIR.
Okay, maybe Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas is actually pretty.
Yeah,
Dallas has almost 11.5 in cap space. That I think Paul Stastny in Dallas would be a great.
I think he would be too good of a fit. I hope that nobody is listening, because that is honestly, I would not like to see that. Obviously, he's played there in Winnipeg,
and if you are and you make that happen, you need to give us credit for the signing.
You heard it here first, that's what I'm saying. We're dropping news like we're Adrian Wojnarowski of the NHL, bro. All right,
All right, to round us off, we're talking one of my favorite defensemen of all time, PK Subban, the 33-year-old defenseman. Last season had a $9 million cap hit. Let's be honest here, the biggest issue was his play compared to his high contract. He was not a $9 million player last year. He has not been for several years now. I think that's the way of things. I mean, 33, a little young, but he's got some injury history. This is a Norris Trophy winner.
And injury history is always hard to bring up. And you can say, well, you have injury history or you're injury prone until you're not. The problem is his injuries have been back injuries, which are hard to overcome because your back is involved in everything. Like even when you're recovering, you're still having to use your back and
getting up and down. I mean, everything.
You break your wrist is broken, and you could just do everything without that wrist for a while. Or same with an ankle, or unless you're Jasmine, in which case your ankles never heal. Okay, but I mean, the back is a hard thing to go through, and a $9 million hit is good. Is a big cap hit if you're not having back problems and if you're scoring 70 points a year. Still, $9 million is still a hard sell.
I think a former Norris Trophy winner guy likes PK Subban at this point in his career still has the opportunity for an upward projection. I don't think he's going to reach the mountaintop like he has before.
No,
I would say 3.8. $4.2 million at 3-year contract is about the most I would want to give him. And you know what? I think he would be an amazing asset for any team, for anyone to have at around that price, or even if lower. He is still an amazingly great guy in the locker room. He is an amazing person for the city. He is great for any team in jersey sales. That's not even looking as on ice what he can do if given time to heal, if given time to get into the system. PK Subban is still a great defenseman.
1,000%. I don't want anybody to hear what I'm saying, what I'm not saying. I mean, for you lower the price, you bring him in a place like Seattle or
Nashville,
bring him into Nashville or Detroit. That will really beef up their presence. The biggest thing is it's hard for, at least at that price that even you're projecting at 3.8. 4.2 for 3 years. That's hard. That would be hard. So that would be hard for me to sell as a contender, to bring in a guy that you would have to expect you're paying that much. You would at least want him to be rocking your second pairing. That would be hard for me to sell. But for a team that maybe knows, hey, we're not going to be competing this year, we need to get a few of these young guys up to speed, and a guy that, exactly as you said, such a, you have those guys that are locker room cancers. And if there's anything the opposite of the world from a locker room cancer, it's PK Subban. And he provides so much. Personally, that man's probably made a lot of money. I don't know what he's worth. And, if he can go make more, great. He is so good on broadcasts and TV.
Yeah.
If I'm him, I'm not breaking myself down for the rest of my life. Yeah, and I get it. He's a competitor.
You and I, we don't know what that we don't know what you and I, we don't know what that competitive itch feels like when we see guys like PK Subban, Drew Brees, these guys go into the studio and then want to go back and then have a great contract that says you're going to get paid millions of dollars to talk about what you used to do. And they're like, you know what? I want to go back out there. I want to do 6 a.m. practices. I want to be in the gym every day. I want to have a diet. I'm going to go back out there. That's insane to me.
We absolutely do not. Yeah. We do not know what that feels like. I mean, he may go back. He may, and that's what I'm saying. Go get your money if you can. I'm saying from the outside perspective, I don't think that I've ever, and we've seen quite a few of the great people in sports history retire early, and we've never heard from them again. I'm sure they're having a great life. Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, LaDainian Tomlinson didn't go super deep into his career, and they were just able to hang it up and just walk away. I honestly think that PK Subban is that kind of guy. He doesn't give me that Drew Brees vibe. He doesn't give me that feeling that football or hockey in his case is everything that he's about. Whereas Drew Brees, you always felt like that. You felt like he's sitting there at breakfast with his kids and he's reading a playbook, or he's sitting on his iPad. PK Subban seems like he can separate the sports world.
Well, that's the difference between comparing a quarterback to anybody else.
Yeah,
I mean, that's who quarterbacks are. I think to be a professional quarterback, that's the kind of
Jason,
difference between quarterback brain and
to your
else.
point, forgetting that point, Jason Witten. I mean, Jason Witten's a perfect example of a guy that went to the booth. Maybe we pushed him back onto the field. Yeah, maybe we pushed him back on the field. They're like, he's like, I love being a broadcaster. I'm going to do it forever. And then Mike Tirico is like, are you though?
Yeah. It's like, shut up and run the ball, bud.
They called Chris Hemsworth and it's like, hey, we need you to actually do this in person to him because I don't think he's going to get it otherwise. But yeah, I mean, and so he goes back in because he wants to, do whatever. So I can see it. But PK Subban has done really, really good work on broadcast. And I think that a place like, ESPN would be so lucky to pull a guy like him after getting that that NHL hockey contract. Probably not going to be able to pay him $3.8 to $4 million a year, but I would imagine that it's a lot easier on the old back. So, but whatever happens to this man, all these people we've talked about, I'm sure they're great, but we know firsthand in Nashville what he has done for our community. When he came to Nashville, what he continued to do for Montreal, and then since going to New Jersey, I'm sure that he has found a children's hospital and has given a lot of his money there. So wherever this man lands, I just want to thank him from the bottom of our hearts and our city for what he did for us. So you're lucky to have him if you get him.
So you said ESPN couldn't pay them. So I was like, I wonder if I don't think they could, but I want to see, I want to go to the top of the mountain. I was like, I want to see what Stephen A's getting paid. So I typed in Stephen A.
I bet you he gets paid $8 million a year.
That's exactly right.
Boom!
But what happened was I typed in Stephen A. contract. And it just says Stephen signed a 4-year, $250 million contract, and I'm skimming it with an average salary of $53 million a year. But then it said
Steven Strasburg, huh?
No, well, it said while carrying a cap hit of $48 million. I'm like, all right, is this like a joke article? It pulled up Steph Curry instead of Stephen A.
Or I was thinking Google. Steven Strasburg or something but yeah, Stephen A. So hey, really $8 million? So I mean, yeah, and $8 million, but like you said, he the top of the mountain, and I mean he, PK Subban, while being a great pull, I can imagine that the list and order of how much they pay people. The NHL folk happen to rank a little lower than the rest. Maybe a decent salary for Gretzky, but he ain't getting no Chuck, Ernie, or Shaq
we want to hear
money.
something. Stephen A. Actually, it's been that's not an updated number. His number is actually 12 million now.
Okay, I can see that,
and he's actually ranks 7th on the list of highest paid commentators.
Okay, so let me guess
who the number one is.
The number one, Bob Costas, maybe?
No.
Mike Tirico?
No.
Bob Lee?
No. Jim Rome at 30 million.
He does, and the best part about Jim Rome is he just calls everybody that watches him his clones. And so, honestly, that makes sense. Jim Rome, 30 mil a year, huh?
And then in second place is Tony Romo with 18 million, Troy Aikman also at 18 million, Michael Strahan at 17 million, and then Al Michaels at 15 million, and then Joe Buck at 15 as well.
I guess it's ESPN. I'm probably thinking outside. Whew. Those are big numbers. Yeah. Maybe PK could pull 4 mil.
I think he could. I think with these new
PK, call me, get me as your agent. We'll get it worked out. I'll go into the negotiations and this fit, okay? They would not be able to say no. Be like, I'll tell you where I got this. They're like, did you get it on Amazon? I'm like, Oh, yes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's jump into our joke of the week. I can find it.
The weird. Corey Perry. See, I don't like this. Wild. I think the first read was a good one. Now I'm overthinking it. Outlandish.
Each sixth chick sat on a stick. Little tongue twister.
And downright dumb.
You're kidding me.
It's time for the joke of the week.
All right, this one comes from the Golden State, San Francisco. A San Francisco man is fighting a ticket for parking in the red zone after the curb was repainted red while his car was parked there.
I mean, not funny. Not funny that happened while but I'm looking at
there
the
was
picture.
actually there was a picture I saw where like you literally saw them kind of go around the tire so they didn't touch his tire. And the city's not fighting. They were admitting that they painted it while it was red, but they're saying it's always been red. So I'm looking at some of these pictures, and maybe it was red, but the pic, like when you look at the news article, ABC News, they grabbed screenshots from 2016 and 2021 that shows that curb did not.
Maybe
it looks like a curb.
Painted red. It didn't even have
so
flecks
faded
of it anymore. It doesn't even have flecks of the red anymore.
Yeah.
If you could see
Which
it.
at that point, it's no longer painted red.
Right. Once you know that it was supposed to be painted red, you can look closely and see, oh, okay, maybe there's that tinge of where it was different. But if I told you this was never painted red, you would not question.
And
you wouldn't.
They said they've been parking there for 25 years. Is how long they've lived there, and it has not been repainted in 25 years.
And also, he hasn't been getting tickets either. So, like, it's not like they've been considering it a red zone and then ticketing the guy. And then now all of a sudden he's like, well, they painted it while I was here. He's been parking there, no tickets. And then that's the best part is that, like, it wasn't like then painted red one day and then he parked there. It was that they painted it while he was there and then ticketed him out. That would be dope. If cities started doing that, they just rolled by, they painted something red real quick, ticketed it. The next day, they're like, "We do not want this to be a red zone anymore."
I actually had something like this happen to me when I was in college, up in Clarksville. I was parked at my my apartment building where I was at, and I was parked like a building next door, and it was open. You didn't have like a designated parking spot. You didn't have to park in front of your building. Where I was parked, I'm at class. Because I rode with a buddy. We had the same class. My roommate and I had the same class. I rode with him. I get a text from one of my other buddies who works in the front office like, hey, you're getting towed. I'm like,
towed? I was thinking you're going to get like ticketed or booted.
And he was like, you're parked in a handicap spot. I'm like, dude, I haven't moved my car in a week. And he's like, well, you're parked in a handicap spot. I'm like, that's impossible, dude. I'm not. He's like, yeah, they made it a handicap parking spot today. I'm like, okay.
No, that's not how any of this works, okay?
And he was like, my manager told me not to text you, but I'm doing you he's like, he's a fraternity brother. So I was like, I'm texting you. And I was like, all right, dude, I'm in class right now. And that means I have to get back. Like, I don't have my car here, obviously. So I need to wait for my buddy to get out of his class, meet up, and get back there. Luckily, he was able to stall them long enough for me to get there and move it. And only because the construction guys who were planning the handicap sign, they went to lunch. So it wasn't officially in the ground yet. So they couldn't tow me yet. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
That has got to be illegal. There's got to be illegal on like numerous.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it is.
Like,
I'm sure it is. But when you're, a 19-year-old in college, I just get mad. I'm like, I don't even know who to yell at.
Sure.
Because the manager's like, well, it's not up to me. It's up to the city. And I'm like, this is private property. This has nothing to do with the city.
That ain't how it works. And like, but those college apartments try to do that shit a lot. Like where they think, okay, this is a young kid. And I'm sure they get away with it tons. Like they get to fine people. And like, they tried it with me one time and I went in there and like, I'm like logically explaining something. I'm like, no, like it was like about like I referred somebody into the apartment complex. And so they say you get whatever off the next month rent. Well, were trying to charge me because I paid like $100 less because I was supposed to. They tried to charge me a fine because I didn't pay the full amount of rent. And so I went in there and I'm like explaining it, and like I feel like Kevin Costner on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm like, do you know what a clapback is? Because I do, like I'm like in this girl's face. And so like there's no adults there. They're just
Yeah,
other
that's the problem,
college
is,
student.
yeah.
And like, so the manager
And they're just doing
comes
what they're
out.
told.
Right. And the manager comes out, which just means you're just an older college student that's lived there longer. And like, I'm explaining it and she's like, well, you come in here and like, I'm explaining it to her and she's like, well, you're getting a little loud and, you can catch more flies with honey. And I was like, well, not if the fly is too dumb to land on it though. Right. And like, I was not having it. And so they didn't mess with me anymore. They took it off they like, took the fine off. They're like, oh, well, we can clear this up. And I was like, well, perfect. I mean, she could have done it out there probably, but, like they want you to be thankful that they've finally done what they're supposed to do for you. It's like, bro, you're half a year older than me. Okay. You just happen to work here. That's very frustrating.
So my freshman year, when I still lived in the dorms, it was the stupidest fucking thing. Now I'll say it was a little bit my fault.
Sure.
I'm out watching the Super Bowl at a friend's house. It is New England versus New York. The Patriots lose because of that ridiculous catch. I get back. I've got a shit ton of wings that didn't get eaten. So I've got just a bunch of wings that I'm taking up to my door to put in the fridge. I park in a spot I've always parked in. For some reason, nobody's ever parked there. It's like right in front of the door. The thing's never been painted. Whatever. They painted it orange that day. That day, for whatever reason. Now, I don't know what orange means. It's not the color of my thing. Apparently, orange means it's a loading zone. I don't fucking know why. Anyway, I get there at like 1 a.m. I park there right when a parking enforcement cop comes. I say, you can't park there or you're going to get a ticket. And I'm upset. I am visibly upset. I'm like, how much is a ticket? She's like, $25. I'm like, and now the only other parking spot is about a 30-minute walk.
Right.
Because at 1 a.m. on a Sunday or whatever, all the parking spots are taken. I'm like, just ticket me. Honestly, it's worth it at this point. Just ticket me.
Right.
I want to go to bed. She's like, no. You have to move your car. I'm like, well, you just said you were going to ticket me. She's like, you need to move your car or I'm going to ticket. I'm like, okay, then ticket me. Yeah. I'm really okay.
Are we not hearing each other? I don't.
She's
care.
like, okay, well, she's like, well, if you're going to take that attitude, then I'll just tow it. I'm like,
okay,
well, you didn't say that. That wasn't one. That wasn't part of the.
If the answer was tow, then
I would have moved.
I would have moved it. Yeah. If you said you're going to tow it.
Yeah. You're changing the negotiation midway through.
If the punishment for something is a fine, then only the people too poor for that are subject to that. If I want to pay $25 to park here, then I get to. I use in MTSU, I had a dude that would always just go, instead of parking in the white, like in like a teacher's lot, which you could generally do pretty good and get away with it. And he would always just park in the white parking lot in the grass, because a grass parking spot was a $20 ticket as opposed to parking in a teacher's spot, which was $25. It was ridiculous. Like he would like drive up like beside his spot, like just park on the grass.
All right, we're running a little bit over, so we're going to keep on heading now. Let's move into, it's the beginning of the month, so we're going to do, what are you binging? I'll start us off. Everyone knows I love D&D. I love watching actual play D&Ds. There's an old season of Dimension 20 that I could never really get into, called Mice and Murder, which it's a murder mystery where everyone plays in an alternate reality Earth where animals evolved. So everyone plays like dog. Kind of, but like, yeah, it's like anamorphic animals.
Like
so you've got people playing like like dogs. You have some people playing like badgers and stuff like that. Anyway, so it's based in London, and it's a murder mystery, and it's very entertaining, really good, really fun, really good season. I think that it's a mini series, so it's only 10 episodes. Yeah, I'm loving it. It's a lot of fun. What about you, man?
Yeah, man. Mine, while it's on the what are you binging, it could very easily just be on what's snapping my stick. I have been way too into. And you know how when I get into stuff, I get way too into it. I've been up on the Big Brother live feeds. I'm talking like 4 to 5 times within the last few weeks. This last week, I've been up to like 2 a.m. And like to the point where I have to turn them off because I can't just, I'll just fall asleep to them. No, bro. If they're going, I am flipping can. And then even worse for it, I was doing this even before I discovered this. Chrome has an extension called BB Viewer. And let me just tell you, if you don't want to get into the BB viewing game, don't download this because it makes it super easy to switch between cams. It has bookmarks, so you can go back and watch like specific things that happened. Or oh boy,
they have it for Firefox.
Oh my gosh, it is, brother. If it's too much. I am deep into the game. I get into it for fantasy, bro. I will pull up the live. I think Stephanie and I, just for example, even I didn't even stay up super late last night. I got off work at 3:30, and I was watching the live feeds from 3:30 to like 10, like just nonstop, just like watching these live feeds. It would only be down for like yesterday. It was down for like an hour and 10 minutes or something, like total the entire day. It's
so. Do you have
much.
Paramount Plus, or do you have Paramount Plus through something else?
No, Paramount
so I have
Plus.
mine through Amazon, so I guess I can't use it because it doesn't have a sign-in like from Amazon.
Oh, well, wouldn't it just
the
be
BB viewer?
Oh, well, you just go through and just go on to Paramount Plus. Whenever you're watching, you don't have to do anything. You just go and watch the BB live feeds if you got them, and then it will like do its thing for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's just an extension for the live feeds. Like you can't just like have the BB viewer and then watch them if you don't have them.
Well, yeah, I have it. It's just when I type, because I just downloaded the extension, I clicked on it, and it wanted me to sign into Paramount Plus.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you should be able to, though. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I'll try to look at it. I mean, it took me 30 seconds. I've only looked at it for 10 seconds.
Yeah, so I've just been super into it. But also the problem is I can't talk about it with anybody anymore because I'm always ahead of them. The only thing that actually happens in real time is the eviction. So now, will I know absolutely who's getting evicted because I've seen all the discussions for days? Yes, I will. Like I know who's getting renominated tonight, Bobby, or tomorrow night, so I'm already well ahead of the game. So that's the problem. I'm going to need you to get up in there. So what about, okay. Yeah, I think we're moving on. So
let's move into what's snapping our stick.
Bobby and Brandon are about to find out exactly what snaps their sticks.
Alrighty. Again, a little bit of a first world problem. Home ownership, man. It is sometimes when it rains, it pours, everything breaking out at the same time. I think there's a soccer game this Saturday. Probably not going to be able to go because don't have a car right now that can work, which isn't even part of home ownership, but it adds on to it. Not to mention now got to save for a roof, a gutter, not to mention our renovation that was going on. So sometimes home ownership can just be a pain in the ass. Sometimes there are times when I miss being younger and just being able to call up a landlord and just have them come fix something and I don't have to give a fuck about it.
Yeah, man, that's you've already been kind of telling me a bit about that. So, apologies, bro. I was actually going to look and see if there's a soccer game because there was one this past Saturday.
Okay. My wife said I think there was one this Saturday.
There may be.
So I was
that's why I was actually going to look that up. I just did not know. Mine is, and this is something that we've kind of talked about. That is correct. There is one this Saturday. So, something that we've kind of talked about. I've been watching you, game it up on some Twitch, and then I was just like thinking, like, man, it'd be super fun to play backyard baseball because, I mean, that's that shit, right? That's that shit, right? And so I'm looking it up. Well, apparently I'm not the first grown up that thought about playing backyard baseball. This guy has created this online emulator for it and has a league. And I've kind of talked to you about it. I think we're going to talk a little bit about it after the episode. But, it's pretty dope, man. It's pretty cool, like the situation. But you can't go buy it on like Steam or Valve or anywhere online. You actually have to go and buy the physical copy, which means I'm not, I didn't buy my laptop in 1982. So I got to also buy like a disk drive for it to run it because, first of all, I'm not that tech savvy. And also, like, look, man, this thing deserves my money. I'm not going to pirate the thing, that's, not being able to buy those online is pretty much what's snapping my stick. But I'm super excited for us to have our conversation about the backyard league and see if maybe we can get involved. There's some folks in there, so.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds like an amazing time. I can't wait to get into that. But all right, everyone, thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll see you next week. For Bobby and Brandon, this has been Pucks Out Podcast. Have a great one.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Pucks Out Podcast. To see what other ridiculousness the guys are up to, check them out on Twitter and Instagram @PucksOutPod.